This show is a proud member of the Blue Collar Roots Network and is created for professionals and people who know what they're doing already. The opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the network or the sponsors. Do everything according to government regulations, OSHA safety practices, and manufacturer listing and labeling instructions. Not just because someone said so on a podcast. Now, on with the show.
You're listening to the Tool Pros Podcast. When your wife finds out that you're listening to a podcast about expensive tools, she may prefer that you listen to Howard Stern. Here's Brent Ridley and Billy Noth.
Hello and welcome to the Tool Pros Podcast. This is episode number 15, and this is a Tool Talk with Ralph and Zack from HVAC Shop Talk Podcast. I'm super excited about this. Ralph and Zack have been really good friends. They've been great friends to me, great friends to the show, and I'm so excited about having them on today. And like always, from across the internet, I got my co-host Billy Noth. How you doing, Billy?
I'm doing good. Super excited about this one. As I say about all of them, but tonight super excited with Zack and Ralph.
Zack, Ralph, how you doing?
What's going on, y'all? Go ahead, Zack. I know you want to say something first.
I was just going to say that I was expecting Billy Noth, so I don't know who this guy is.
Billy Noth, Billy Noth?
Nope, it's Noth.
Billy K.
For years, we called Billy Noth, and he never corrected any of us. But now we have been enlightened, and we know he is Billy Noth, not Billy Noth.
Leave it to Brian.
Yep, it was Brian was the one who let us all know about it, and we're very thankful now.
And Billy wouldn't have cared.
Nope. Name's just a name. Who cares?
Billy might be the most agreeable person I've ever met in my entire life.
Next to Jason O.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Jason seems to be very agreeable.
He is.
Ralph, what's his last name?
Oh.
Okay. I just wanted to say that.
Isn't it Objute?
That's pretty good.
Billy wins a prize.
That sounds good, man. Very nice.
It must be something in the north.
Yeah.
They can pronounce those kind of names.
Apparently so.
See, in the south, it's Brown, Smith, Washington. Those are the kind of names we have. Up north, they have Noth and Objutes.
What'd you say? Orange juice?
Yeah, there you go. Objute. I think I said it right.
I think you did.
Objute.
Well, Jason's not here to correct you or not, so we'll never know.
I said it right in my mind.
That's all that matters. Well, guys, we brought you on here to talk about some tools, and you guys covered a lot of the HVAC-related tools in your podcast, but let's talk about like some corded tools, like a drill and a impact and that kind of stuff. So what did you guys carry when you were in the field? What brand did you guys prefer? Zack, Ralph, whichever one you want to go first?
I'll go first. I'm actually a little bit apprehensive talking to the tool guys because everybody's like, Milwaukee's the best. I bleed red, Milwaukee. And I used Ryobi. So am I still invited to the podcast?
I have nothing against Ryobi because I have a whole toolkit that's in my truck full of Ryobi stuff. So I can't fault you for that one.
You know what I have against Ryobi? Because I carried them for a long, long time as well. The batteries, I wore batteries out like they were going out of style. Every time I wore one set of batteries out, which was the 2, I just bought a new set. Not of batteries, but a new toolkit.
Now, was that the old NiCads or was that the lithium? So was that the old blue and yellow or was that the newer like lime green ones?
It was the old blue and yellow one.
Oh, NiCad batteries are just junk anyways. They did that after a while. The battery would just wear out. That's why the new lithium ion stuff is so much better.
Yeah, but I think I wore some of those out too.
I think it's possible. It's very possible.
Then finally I just switched to Makita. And then for whatever reason, I think the chuck on my Makita started slipping on my hammer drill. And I got tired of messing with it. And so I just went and bought Milwaukee.
I'm a Milwaukee guy, but I've recently bought a few DeWalt things. And now that I got several DeWalt batteries and whatnot, so I'm going to start sharing. I guess I can't be a monogamous to Milwaukee, so I guess I get to have multiple relationships.
Well, the reason I didn't like DeWalt was because at the time their batteries cost as much as their toolkit. So I could buy a whole drill with a battery for what the cost of a battery was.
Yep, they are proud of their batteries. Milwaukee is the same way nowadays. If you want to buy just a 2 amp hour battery from Milwaukee, you're at $100. If you want to buy one of like the big, real nice, big like 9 amp hour batteries, you're at over $200. $200 or more for that. The batteries are just as expensive as the tool, and the best way to buy it is just to buy a tool that comes with the battery in the pack, and that way you got the setup there already.
That's how they get you to buy the tool, because you can buy the tool for pretty much as a battery.
Exactly.
and it comes with a battery with the tools. So
But I tell you what, I had a ton of Ryobi stuff all through the years. I had jigsaws, sawzalls, battery powered, and I don't think the batteries were as good as people like DeWalt and some of the other brands, but they were awful cheap as far as comparatively, and they lasted long enough to me that I thought it was worthwhile. And it seemed durable enough because I had an impact driver for probably 6 or 7 years that was Ryobi, and it cost $60.
oh, I agree. I would leave mine. That's one reason I bought Ryobi all the time, because they were cheap enough that if I left it at somebody's house, I could just go buy a new one and wouldn't have to worry about remembering where I left it.
I like that. Disposable tools. Well, I can say one thing about the batteries. Like I said before, I don't think they're as good as some of the other brands, and I have worn like 20 of them out over the years, both NiCad and the newer lithium batteries.
Very cool. Now, what kind of tool bags did you guys carry? Were you Vito guys or what?
I had a lot of different tool bags. Probably my favorite over the years was either the Vito MCT that I had, or I had a Husky bag I really liked. And it's funny because they were opposite ends of the spectrum as far as cost. One of them was like $150 and one of them was like $30. But they just kind of hit the spot for where the tools needed to be. It was perfect.
There's nothing wrong with a Husky bag. I mean, I use one for my plumbing stuff. It's perfect. It fits everything in there. But I'm definitely, when it comes to the more major tools, it's definitely Vito for me.
Yeah, I've been just like you guys. Husky. I had all kind of Husky bags. I had the one that fits in a bucket. I had one that rolled around. I had a bunch of tool bags from Husky. Then, of course, I had my Vito stuff.
What type of Vito you got, Ralph? You know what it is?
The MC, the TP, and the LC.
Cool. Quite a little collection there.
Hey, what is the TP? Sorry, just a side note.
Tool pouch. What's the small one?
It's the one you just carry like the electrician's bag?
Oh, okay.
The TP4, the TP3, those?
Yeah, it's the TP4, I believe.
Vito just came out with a new tech pack, which is the backpack, but they just came out with what they call the high vis. It's got neon yellow on the whole thing, so it's like you can glow in the dark and whatnot.
Brent, you're saying the high vis, but they also went the whole opposite end of the spectrum, and they have a camo version too. So they've got camo and high vis.
So if you want to blend in and not show up, or if you want to be the highlight, both ends of the spectrum, that's pretty neat.
So I wonder if the camo backpack, is that like a novelty version? Because no one really needs to be camouflaged, so really, right?
No, I guess it's just they're starting the whole camo thing because it just seems to be the in thing to do with the different bags and stuff. So
Because there's a lot of John Israels out there.
Okay. Why you got to mess things up?
No, so you can be a HVAC fashionista, so you can look nice on that rooftop, look beautiful.
All right, just as a side note, I was curious about something, so I was looking it up as we were all talking. But Zach, you're saying that you don't bleed the red and black when it comes to Milwaukee tools. But do you know who owns Milwaukee?
No.
Tektronic Industries. They also own Ryobi, AEG, Hoover, Dirt Devil.
Wow.
Is all owned by the same company.
Well, they don't put enough money into Ryobi.
Well, Ryobi, I think, is just their more DIY version of
Home Depot brand.
Yep.
I think it's like carrying Black & Decker to work or something like that.
Yeah.
I guess.
Black & Decker and DeWalt, right? I mean,
And Hillmore.
Ooh.
And Hillmore. Oh, sting for the Hillmore.
What about those Hillmore bags?
but honestly, Hillmore being made by Black & Decker or owned by Black & Decker sounds better than Rubbermaid when they first had burst onto the scene.
Oh, I know. Hillmore, owned by Sharpie.
Well, is Hillmore owned by Black & Decker now? I know they were owned by Rubbermaid.
They're owned by Black & Decker now.
I'm with you, Ralph. I'm not a Hillmore fan. For all you guys who are listening who aren't HVAC guys, Hillmore is a tool brand that's primarily HVAC tools. And they've only been on the scene for maybe 5-6 years now, but I don't consider them a top-notch tool. They have a couple good tools, the tubing bender and the swager, but
And a flaring tool.
and the flaring tool, that's right. But the rest of their stuff is just not top quality, and it's not contractor grade stuff, if you ask me.
That's a good way to put it. I always say companies always do something very well, but then they also do things that are terrible. And Hillmore is one of those companies. They do the bender, the swedger, and the flaring tool very, very well. But their other tools suck.
You guys didn't like the nut drivers, right?
No.
Whoa, that is bad. You might as well take a spoon to the job or something. They're not very good. They're rounded. The corners are so rounded, it's hard to grip the screws. It's so ironic. Why would you produce something to take out screws that does not grip screws?
I found that with the chucks for the drill, the 1/4 inch and 5/16 too. They work great for like the first 2 or 3 screws, and then they would round over so fast. Here, I thought I was getting something decent. They didn't last at all.
I'm just picturing in my head Zach trying to take the screws out of a package unit with a spoon.
But yeah,
I would be better off to take a set of cutlery to the job than take Hillmore nut drivers. Now, I like the assuager, the orbital flare, and the bender, but after that, I see Hillmore as a giant cliff that goes down to a lake of crap, basically.
but now you had the vacuum pump. What did you think of the vacuum pump?
My impression of the vacuum pump is it is the same as all the other vacuum pumps. I didn't see anything special about it. It was just fine. It was okay. Nothing better or worse.
But it had a shoulder strap, Zach.
Yes, the shoulder strap was very relaxing.
You know what, though? My son put my Robin Air, the blue one, into the Hillmore backpack that I bought, and he had a back strap, and he carried around a vacuum pump in the Hillmore bag.
So the Hillmore backpack, how'd you like that? Was it just useful for carrying around the vacuum pump?
That Hillmore backpack is buried in the back of my truck somewhere. I don't know where it's at. It disappeared, but it is in the back of my truck somewhere.
It hasn't gotten totally kicked off your vehicle yet.
I don't know. It's only got used like once or twice. I bought it at the train store. My son started using it to carry the vacuum pump around. That's what it got used for.
That's an odd thing to carry in that thing.
But it worked. It fit perfectly in there.
I never liked their bags. They didn't seem to last as long as other bags. Of course, they cost us a third of what Vito bags cost.
Yeah, it was $60 for that backpack. That's all. I thought, man, this is going to be a good deal.
Yep.
All right, let's get away from the Hillmore beating and blundering here. What about like flashlights and work lights? What kind of lights did you guys use? Like, did you have anything that you really liked that you used, or you just get kind of some cheap flashlights and use those?
I always liked the clip light that you could stick to that had the magnet on it. The only thing I didn't like about it was double A's, 3 of them, and I wish they would make that thing rechargeable.
You talking about the one with like the swivel head on it, the one that you can stick?
Yeah.
Man, I've had like 3 or 4 of those things, and you know what? They've each lasted maybe a couple months. After that, I don't know if like the battery connections get loose or something, but the light starts to dim, and then the connections start to not make good connection there, and so I got tired of that, and I went and bought the Milwaukee Rover, and I really love that thing ever since I got it, and I can't talk enough good stuff about that.
Now, is it magnetic?
Yes, the Milwaukee Rover is magnetic on the back and on the top, and it's $60, which is not cheap for a flashlight at all.
No, but if you buy 3 of the other ones.
It'll outlast the others, and it charges with USB. It's got a rechargeable, so you can recharge it from job site to job site because everybody's got a USB phone charger in your truck.
As long as you don't stick it to a flue pipe when the furnace is running.
Yes, I did that within the first week I had it, and it burned up the magnet and kind of warped it on the top side of it.
What?
Yeah, I was so bummed about that, man. But I still use it because the backside still got the magnet, and I still use the fool out of it.
Well, that's why I like the clip light, because you could stick it anywhere you want it to and then adjust it.
I like the clip light too. I had a few of those. I had one of the little Larry's. I think that's Nebo flashlight. I thought that was really good. Off the Johnstone counter, I'm like, ooh, nice. So I pick up one of those, lose that one, come get another one.
Well, I know. That's why, like me and the Ryobi stuff, you buy a cheap light, and it's really bright. If it's going to blind you at the counter, it's going to do a good job in the attic.
Right. I like to be blinded at the counter. And that's how I evaluate my flashlights as well.
Have you ever done that, though? You pick up the flashlight, and you say, oh, man, this is pretty cool. And you don't expect it to be that bright, and you click it, and you get blinded.
You're seeing spots and all kind of good stuff. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Don't tell me you had never done that, Zach.
Yeah, that's how I got these Nebo lights. They blind me at the counter. First thing you do is stare at them. Like, oh, need a light. It's like some kind of child or something.
Everybody at the counter is like, they wait for you to do it. They don't warn you. They know you're getting ready to do it, and they're watching you just so they can laugh at you when you're done.
That's what they do with you. One of them comes up to the counter. They start tapping on each other's shoulders. Hey, come here. Ralph's going to try one of the lights.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to fall off the stool again.
Yeah.
No, but I like that light. I like headlamps. I love headlamps. I always buy just a cheap Energizer headlamp or something because I lost like 20 of them over the years.
When you lose enough tools, then buying high dollar stuff isn't on your priority list.
But you know what, Ralph? I find that if I spend a little bit more money on it, I tend not to lose it because I think, damn, I spent a lot of money on this thing. I better make sure I take it with me.
Do you know how many field piece meters I've replaced? A lot.
Ralph, you got to come up with a system where you don't forget that kind of stuff.
What I started doing was strapping inside my bag to something, taking a D-ring and strapping it on the side or something like that.
Are you talking about the meter bag on the side of the tool bag? Okay.
Yep. The bag would be clipped to my tool bag.
Then you can visually just look down and check and see, okay, yep, meter's there, everything's good.
Yeah, but when I was just carrying my nut drivers, my 2 nut drivers, my screwdriver, my channel locks, and my meter with me without a tool bag, then I would leave my meter.
Is that the Ralph service special right there? A double nut driver, a channel locks, and a meter?
Man, you can diagnose any furnace and any condenser with those 3-4 tools.
You ought to teach some people about that.
Yeah, you could. On a jumper wire in there maybe, but hell, you don't even have to have that.
No, you don't even need a jumper wire because normally there's enough thermostat wires there that if you needed a jumper wire, you could cut one of them off.
What do you cut it off with, your nut driver?
Yeah.
The channel locks.
I always have my lighter with me though. I just break it off and then use my lighter and.
Oh, that's funny. What a minimalist.
I carry a Leatherman. With that mentality, I can fix everything with my Leatherman and right on my hip.
You could.
Yeah.
I used to carry a Leatherman until I almost died using one, so I won't use it anymore.
There you go. See.
Was that where you got electrocuted using the Leatherman?
Yep.
Okay. Now, Billy, you brought it up, so you got to share the story for everybody who's listening, man.
Yeah, because not a lot of people remember that story, or not a lot of people have probably heard that story.
Nah, it was pure stupidity on my part. I was working in Brooklyn at a CVS pharmacy, and I was laying on the top of one of the reach-in coolers and trying to pull evaporator sensor out of the back of the cooler itself. And somebody had silicone the hell out of the wire connections on the back trying to seal up the hole. And I couldn't get my fingers on it to pull it out. And at a CVS, you can't start shutting breakers off to kill the power to the units because you don't know, nothing's labeled. 10 400 amp panels and nothing's labeled. I figured I was just doing a sensor wire, no big deal. Stuck my fingers in there trying to pull the silicone out so I can get the sensor out. And it kept slipping out of my fingers. So stupidly, I grabbed my Leatherman out of my pocket and just trying to hold the silicone back so I can pull the sensor out. And I caught the evaporator motor lead in it. And I must have broken the insulation on it. So I was basically kind of the path to ground because I was a hot, sweaty mess on the top of this nicely grounded metal refrigerator. It was only 110 volts, but I got stuck and I couldn't let go. And thankfully somebody pulled me back and I passed out on top of the refrigerator and woke up and ambulance was there and I spent 5 days in the hospital because of it.
Holy cow. That's why Billy don't complain about people mispronouncing his last name.
Nope. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, there you go. Life's too short to worry about how people pronounce your last name.
Oh, absolutely. Now, Billy, you stayed 5 days in the hospital for that. What did they keep you that many days for? I'm just curious.
Apparently, when your muscles contract so bad or constrict so bad and it starts to break the muscles down, it produces an enzyme in your blood, which is very hard for your kidneys to, I guess, filter out. So whatever the levels are normally supposed to be, I was at almost 200 times where I was supposed to be. So they had to just kind of flush everything out and make sure everything was going to go okay. Because if they sent me home, because I felt fine other than fatigued, if they sent me home, they were worried about kidney failure.
Wow.
That's big stuff.
What was you on dialysis for a week?
No, just IV fluids like crazy. They were putting through bags. I think in the 5 days I was there, it was 45 or 50 IV bags I went through.
Now, Billy, how many years ago was this?
This was 2012, August 28th, 2012.
A little over 5 years ago now. 5 years and a couple months. Now, did it cause any issues with your heart or anything like that?
No, everything seems to be okay. I mean, I swear I can still hear the buzzing in my head every now and again, but
Wow. Billy used to have brown hair.
yeah,
Man, I would have hoped for special powers once I woke up.
I know, right?
Like be an X-Man or something. That would have been great.
My luck, I would just be Doc from Back to the Future. Crazy white hair and spouting nonsense.
Well, guys, that's a good story, though, for everybody really to be careful and be safe out there and just to make sure you guys, everybody's paying attention and making sure you're taking the safety precautions that you need. You're wearing your PPE and all that good stuff. So just a reminder, because we all get complacent in the job and it's real easy to just slip up at one time. So just everybody be careful out there. Seriously.
So would you suggest, Billy, if somebody's in your position doing the same thing, that they just go find the breaker?
Yeah, for me, it's gotten to the point where there are things that we can do in the field that are live and things that we need to do with the unit live. But I'm so much more cautious now that I will go and find a breaker. If there's a bundle of wires, I'm not just sticking my fingers in there and trying to pull stuff apart. Not anymore, anyway.
Do you use insulated tools a lot more? And would you suggest folks use insulated tools more often?
I do. I use them a lot more. But I think for the most part, the things that I'm dealing with, I'm killing the breaker. I'm killing disconnects a lot more than I used to make repairs. I do have a set of insulated screwdrivers. I do have the higher voltage insulated electrical tools, but I don't really use them as much as I probably should.
If you're going to work on something hot, wear some gloves.
Right.
I don't have really any insulated screwdrivers or anything like that. And I've always wondered if it would be worth it and necessary to spend that extra bit of money to invest in something like that.
I have a friend who's an electrician, and it was the end of the day. He was playing in a panel and he was trying to get out of there so he can get home. I think it was his wife had just had the baby. So he was trying to get home to, his newborn, to be with her as much as he could. And just stupidly, he misstepped and his non-insulated screwdriver hit the buzz panel, the buzz strip in the side of the breaker box and melted his screwdriver down to nothing and damn near killed him because of the arc flash. Severely hurt him anyway. Because of the arc flash, he was temporarily blinded for 3.5 days. And because of the loud pop, he couldn't hear. The ringing in his ear was just so bad. It's definitely something to think about when it comes to insulated tools.
Sounds like I just need to go bite the damn bullet and buy some insulated screwdrivers and quit messing around.
Right.
You do. We all know the story where somebody has been killed. I have a friend that I went to high school with, and I guess it's been 5 years ago now. He was on a roof and got electrocuted, working on an air conditioner.
You just never know. You really don't.
Ralph says, I ain't getting electrocuted behind the counter Ed's.
Nope.
Watch it. You're going to shock yourself on some kind of receptacle in the restroom or something now.
Yeah, something like that. I try to stay away from behind the counter now, though.
That's true.
You're damn Roman man now. You got the truck riding around everywhere.
Yep. When I got the truck, they told me just drive it like it's yours because it's part of the job. It's a perk of the job. It's like a bonus of the job. So if I wanted to drive it to Texas, I could. So the first week I had it, the Friday I got it, I drove up to North Carolina.
Of course you did.
My little gambling trip. And then Sunday night, I said, I'm going to go up there again. So I drove it back up there again. Well, hell, Monday, the only thing to ask is if you drive it for personal use, you just put gas in it.
That's fair trade.
So I had to fill that sucker up. Well, let me tell you something. My little Colorado, which is brand new, it gets a lot better gas mileage than that big old Tundra does.
I'm sure.
I drive my little Colorado when I take my little personal trips like that. To the store or something like that is one thing, but...
Hey guys, did you know that Bacharach has been a leader in the design and manufacturing of combustion analysis equipment since 1909? During their fall promotion, you can save on the purchase of a new combustion analyzer with rebates worth up to $350. That offer includes a free 2-year subscription for their exclusive B Smart Sensor Exchange program with the purchase of a FireRite Intech or Insight Plus. With the B Smart Sensor Exchange program, pre-calibrated sensors are shipped directly to you. No more hassle or downtime while you return your analyzer to the factory for calibration. Download your rebate form today at www.mybacharach.com/offers and enter the promo code TOOLPROS. That's TOOLPROS. You guys know the name. That's Tool Pros. To let them know that you heard it right here on the Tool Pros podcast. Buy a qualifying product by December 31st, 2017 and submit the claim form by January 31st, 2018 for eligibility. All right, so we power tools, we covered your tool bag, we covered your lights. So tell me some other tools that you guys use that you enjoy, that you couldn't live without, whether they be work tools, at home tools, whatever.
My number one tool that I really, if I leave it on the job or if I lose it or whatever, I have to go get. I don't know many guys that do it because a lot of guys like to Klein 10-in-1 or whatever. My favorite screwdriver is a $5.97 Husky clear handle screwdriver. It's a little 6-in-1, and I love that tool.
You haven't had a roll gear yet. That's what's up.
No.
I need to buy you a roll gear because it's a multiple screwdriver like that. It's like 11 in one, 12 in one, and it's a ratcheting style.
I get the ratcheting style, and that's cool, but I can never get into the 10 in ones. Just too many. I lose them. That's my whole deal.
Well, you're talking about the clear plastic handle one. Is that just a Phillips head and a flat head, just a flip over one?
Yep, that's all it is.
You don't want to have all those bits, is what you're saying. Okay, I understand that.
I think I got him beat. He likes a $5.99 screwdriver. I have a $2.99 Buffalo Tools, which is like the Kmart brand or something. It's the worst screwdriver possible, but I lose them so often, just like him. I bought like 10 of the things, and when I lose one, I just pick another one up. I used to have the Hillmore, but it broke, so I don't like that one. And I had a couple more, and Klein was always good, and I think the Linux one I had was pretty good.
What is with you guys and losing tools, man?
Man,
I don't lose tools like that. Like, I make sure all my stuff is in my bag. I stop before my bag goes into my truck, and I look in there, and I make sure it's all there. I don't lose. And my helper, I called him my helper. He's been riding around with me, but I'm grooming him to be a service technician, and we actually have him a truck, and I'm getting it stocked up. He loses stuff like that, too. And how do you guys lose that stuff?
we're not as organized as you.
I don't know. If you name a tool, we probably have lost one of them.
I guarantee you we have lost one.
Check it out. I've gotten a phone call maybe 15 years ago. I got a phone call. And this is funny because me and Ralph talked about this same tool on our podcast. Zach, yes? Do you own a DeWalt XRP drill and battery? It's like, yes, I do. Well, you left it on the job on the island like 50 miles away from my house. I would have never even thought about it. And it's a DeWalt drill. And then later on in that job, I burned it up by drilling through a post.
Wow.
I left an iManifold airflow probe.
Oh, no.
I left two of them, boss. Two of them.
Oh, no.
I left that job, gas and go, man. You don't really need the iManifold, but I was going to do a good job. So I put them probes up there. I was like, all right, man, we're good to go. Got paid and left. That guy didn't answer the phone when I called him back. He wasn't home. I was freaking out. I came back by. He still wasn't there. Wouldn't answer the phone. I was like, I'm going to have to kill this guy and take my stuff back at his house. But he finally, I actually went to his house and he answered the door. I was like, some of my stuff in here? He's like, oh, yeah, I was going to call you. It's like, okay,
Yeah, right.
$600, man. Come on.
I've lost the little duct thermometers and stuff like that. I lose those every once in a while. But like big stuff like that, I can't recall losing anything like that or leaving it anywhere. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't happen. And I'm not organized. I really am not. Like, I wish I could be a lot more organized. Like, I'm no Andrew Greaves when it comes to the back of my service van.
I bet he don't lose tools.
Oh, you know he doesn't because his stuff is meticulously set out in his van. For you guys who don't know, go check him out. He's HVAC Comedy. His name's Andrew Greaves. He's got a page on Facebook and stuff. And he also has a group called HVAC Vehicle Layouts. And this man has got like an immaculate service van. It is like eat off the floor kind of deal.
Although he did say it's not always like that.
Yeah, it's hard to keep your truck like that all the time.
Hey, you could eat off the floor of my van because there's already French fries down there waiting for you.
The McDonald's, they never go bad.
I look under the seat sometimes looking for probably a drill or something that I've lost. And I look down there and it's like, man, look at that chicken nugget. It looks rough. Then I just go inside the house.
Green and growing stuff on it and whatnot.
That's right. But if you need antibiotics, maybe it's just a thing.
There you go.
Or some flesh-eating disease. Sure, no big deal.
But you know, they say that guys are unorganized like Zach and I. I'm not even going to say it.
I'm not unorganized.
Go ahead.
Don't you put me in a group with you. Okay, it's true.
It is true.
It is. You're right.
It has to be. We lose tools. We're unorganized, but we do what we're supposed to do. Get it done right.
Do this math here, Ralph. We're unorganized. We lose tools, and now we're no longer in the business. So figure that one out, right?
That means we're smart.
I don't know. I don't think so.
No, you guys ain't out here breaking your back every day like us, man. You guys got it figured out.
I have not sweated one day since I've been out of the field. I come home clean every day.
That's nice.
All right, now you're just rubbing it in.
Yeah, you can sit down on your couch. Huh?
I was mad the other day. I looked down at my pants. I was like, oh, man. I had some black streak across my pants where I'd rubbed up against something in the warehouse. I was like, oh, man.
Oh, my pants are dirty. Oh, man.
There you go. Is that stain going to come out?
Ralph took his pants out, man. He got the shout. He was rubbing the stain out,
Yeah.
man. He was doing a great job.
OxyClean.
OxyClean. That's right. That's the kind of tools we use now.
I would have never, ever thought in my entire life, because I've been working since I was 14, and it's always been manual labor. And I would have never thought I would ever hear myself say, man, my pants are dirty. Never in a million years.
Well, you couldn't say that stuff back in the 50s.
Well,
You would say, oh, my loincloth got dirty back when you were young.
yep.
Oh, man, that's way back, man.
I commend you fellas for figuring out how to get out of the field when you're not old and crippled. You've gotten out before you got to that point, and you guys have done it right and figured it out. And that's something that I want to figure out before I get old and decrepit out here doing change outs when I'm 70. It's just not something I want.
Yeah, don't be like that guy. Don't be that guy that's working until he's 70 years old.
That's right. You got a family. You want to spend some time with them. Work it out so you can one day.
Not that there's anything wrong with the people who do that. It's just,
Oh, no. But you owe it to yourself. You really do. I don't care how much people say they enjoy doing what they're doing. If they could get out of it, I think they really would.
As long as they can go to casino.
That's right.
You have to get out of it for something, right? You got to have something to do.
Yeah.
Heavy drinking, something like that.
So you replace work for drinking and gambling?
Yeah, so you have to have some sort of goal.
People are going to think that I drink. I don't drink.
He drinks heavily.
You drink Dr. Pepper?
Nope. I've drank probably 2 Dr. Peppers since I had my kidney stone last year.
I remember that. I remember you said you were going to quit Dr. Pepper, and I thought you weren't going to do it. I thought you were full of it. Look there. He's got him a water right there. Drinking water.
No, it's vodka.
it's vodka.
Come on. Let the truth out.
It's water. That's all I drink.
Dayquil doesn't make people slur.
Yeah. So you guys ask us, but I'm going to ask you first, Brent, and then Billy next. What's your favorite tool? What's your go-to tool? What can you not live without?
I got 2. This is kind of a 2-part answer. Number 1 is my cell phone, because everybody uses their smartphone for Googling things, calling tech support, doing everything on your smartphone. And now with the Bluetooth tools and all that stuff, you got your smartphone would be your number 1 tool that everybody uses daily. That's the best. And the second one that I would come across would be my Leatherman multi-tool. It stays on my hip every day, and I use it for all kind of plethora of things. If I need to pull a filter out of a unit that's running, I can do that. Or if I just need to tighten up one little screw, I got Phillips head and flathead, and I got knife in there and all kind of good stuff. And I got pliers and all kind of good stuff. I can strip wires with it and all that good stuff. Those are my 2.
Didn't you hear Billy's story?
I did. I'm need to find an insulated Leatherman. I got to see if they make one of those.
I was just going to say the death tool.
The test tool. Don't be using the Testo. What is it, 773?
The Testo cattle prod.
For those of you who don't know, there's a testo meter that supposedly shocked a fellow on YouTube. I don't know one way or another about that, but I had the meter myself. I've tested it out multiple plethora of times. It stays in my tool bag, and I use it pretty much. I swap between that and the field piece, but I use it a lot, and it's never done anything like that to me. But we call it the meter of death. Just joking for that, but it's actually a pretty good meter. It's the Testo 770-3.
Yeah, I do like the Testo 770-3.
Do you have one, Billy?
I do.
Do you use it pretty much a lot daily?
I use it a lot, but my go-to is my DL429.
The UEI?
The UEI. Yep.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah. That I know. How you feel about UEI.
Oh, man, what's the deal? What's wrong with UEI?
There's a backstory to it. I know what it is.
Doug Lockhart, he's a friend of mine, and he's been a friend of mine for years, and he owns DigiCool Industries, and he created the DigiCool digital refrigerant gauges, and he was one of the very first ones to create it. He was right there with Testo coming out with some of the original setups, and he teamed up with UEI probably several years back, 5-6 years ago, and they were kind of distributing his DigiCool AK900s under their name. So it was a DigiCool AK900, but it had a little UEI logo on it. Selling pretty good. Well, then all of a sudden UEI quit ordering from Doug, and Doug's just a small-time guy from Canada. It's just him and his wife. They quit ordering from him, and the next thing you know, they came out with the AK900 SC or something like that. So they pretty much took all of his ideas and all of his stuff, tried to pawn it off as a DigiCool product, but it had nothing to do with DigiCool. UEI tried to make their own. Not a very good copy. It was terrible. And they even took like the dynamic offset bar, which was a little tick bar at the top. They took a lot of the proprietary stuff that DigiCool had that made it great, tried to incorporate it into theirs. To me, it was just a blatant ripoff, and it was just very classless, if you ask me. And that's why I'm not been a fan of UEI. But I do understand that UEI does make the DL429, and it's a very nice meter. But with a company with those kind of morals, I can't stand behind.
I wasn't a DigiCool person, so it wasn't an issue for me. I never liked UEI until this meter. So, but I have to say, I've used the Fluke, the new 902 FC, and I like that meter, but I still go back to the UEI. I catch a lot of crap for it, but I think that's my go-to meter.
That UEI meter has a whole lot of features on it, though.
It does.
Does it have hertz on it?
No, it actually doesn't do frequency.
Yeah, see, the 902 FC doesn't either. But you know what does?
The 770-3.
Does it really? Does it?
I think it does.
It does. Yep.
The amp probe does too.
Talk about your backstory.
Yep.
The amp probe ACD 14.
ACD 14 Pro.
Yes, it does.
It's a nice meter. It's like an entry-level meter, but it's got a lot of features, too.
Yeah, it really does have a lot of features.
The Fluke T6, man, that thing looks cool as hell. I really want to try one out. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's like the fork style. You stick the wire in there like you're getting an amp reading, but it'll give you a voltage reading.
I saw that.
No leads necessary.
I don't know.
Although I was reading about that and doing a lot of research on that, apparently it's quite off and it's not as good as it's touted to be. You do need to have the black lead connected to something grounded to be able to get a decent reading. And guys are saying that they're getting readings that are spiking. You know, they know it's a 120 volt line and it's going anywhere from 43 to what the guy say his voltage reading went up to 347 volts.
Holy moly.
Yeah, no. See, here is one scenario. Most of the time, if you're just working on a condenser or whatever, you want to make sure power's off. Yeah, it would work. But if, let's say you're working on a mini split, or it doesn't even have to be a mini split, it can be a conventional system, and your system has a minimum and a maximum rating that it will run at. And let's say you're running at 197 volts, and your minimum is 194 volts. Well, that's not going to work. You need something that you can check the power with.
Dead on accurate. Sure, I understand. And I see what Billy's talking about. And there's also, I guess there's like a little bare spot on the back. It's a piece of bare metal, and you're supposed to put your finger over on it, and it uses you as the ground source, apparently, is supposedly how it works with the T6. Like I say, I'm not completely sold, but we do have the Fluke fellas coming on for an interview. We tried the other night, and we had some technical difficulties, but the Fluke guy is coming on for an interview. And that's something I really want to focus on, that T6, the features of the T6, how it works, the inconsistencies with it that we've heard, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'd be real interested to see how that works, how it can be exact. Because I don't know. I imagine stuff like how transformers work when the voltages don't actually interact, but one voltage causes another voltage. Maybe there's something to do with that, like their meter can read a current that flows through because it causes voltage inside the meter. I'm not sure. That's going to be interesting, though. Except if you get killed by it, then it's not.
Yeah, I'm sure that they tell you do not take that as a hard reading. Check it with the leads first.
Then what's the point in having it?
Exactly. At that point, it's no better than a non-contact voltage little tester thing.
Exactly. And they make one of those pins.
Yeah, and I don't even trust those things. I hate those things either.
No, I hate those things.
Testo gave me one of those pins. That's what I call them, a pin. But they gave me one, and it's still in the package. I've had it for probably a year.
I had one. I had a Fluke, and it actually saved me from getting shocked one other time. I don't know what it is with me being electrocuted, but I was working on a commercial space, and I popped one of the ceiling tiles out, and I had the non-contact voltage tester in my shirt pocket. And the guy I was with said, "Why is it lighting up?" I don't understand. And I touched the ceiling grid, and it lit up. And I backed it off, and it shut off, and I touched the ceiling grid again. And apparently the building was a 3-phase building, and it had a high leg, and the high leg was actually energizing the ceiling grid in part of the space.
Wow.
So it actually was energized with 208 volts.
Oh,
Wow. So one of the wires was touching.
Yep.
One of the hanging wires was
That's
rubbing
wild.
up against the wires.
Nice security system.
that could kill somebody in a workplace like that easily.
Yep.
Wow. So you just carrying that thing around in your pocket.
Yeah. I was just carrying it around in the pocket, and then I didn't even notice it. But the guy I was working with happened to see that my shirt pocket was lighting up.
Wow.
I had no clue.
But just standing on your ladder, even if you would have touched it, you probably wouldn't have got shocked.
No.
You would have never been part of ground.
No, but had I been touching something up
In between 2 points.
the metal joists, the metal
Yeah.
joist or something in the building and hit that, then it would have been bad.
That brings me up to something else. So like little carbon monoxide personal CO detectors. Do you carry one, Billy or Zach or Ralph? Did y'all carry one?
I never carried one.
I never had one either because the gas appliances are so few and far between. And the ones I did typically see were gas packs. So I really wasn't walking into basements. Not that that's an excuse or anything. I just never had one.
We had this conversation. Who was it with on a podcast?
Probably Joe.
It was Joe. I said I always use the people that lived in the house
Yeah.
as a
as
personal
your
security
meter.
perspective.
This is what's bad about bringing us on your podcast. They're going to get information like, if the people are alive, I'm just going to proceed. And if one of them's just laying on the floor, it's like, was he like this all day? Like, yeah, I'm just going to go back to my car now.
If the bird is laying dead in the cage, that's a good sign.
Yep.
When I first started getting into the combustion analysis, I was taught to start the machine outside and then bring it in, and then you're good to go. So that's what I always try to do. Not that it always happens, but that's what I try to do.
I was joking about that, but no, I never owned one. I should have, but I never did.
I really want to buy one and just have one little personal one. They make some of those small ones that like it can be like a keychain type deal, and just to carry it around in case you walk into some situation where you got some high carbon monoxide and you don't know it, because the people in the house may be fine, but you go down in the basement and it may be hanging out down there in the basement a lot more so and hadn't traveled to the rest.
Well, you don't know if they're fine or not because they could have been having headaches and stuff like that and just not even realizing that's what the problem was.
Absolutely.
They're going to the doctor because they think they have something seriously wrong with them. And the doctor's probably thinking, oh, these people are just hypochondriacs and send them on their way.
It's funny, man. I went to a service call the other day. It was just a maintenance for a guy. He's a lawyer, really nice guy. Went to his house, and I'd been over at his house before, and I'd done the maintenance on the air conditioning. I hadn't done a heating maintenance. It was the first time I did a heating maintenance, so I went up in his attic and was checking everything out, and he had the flexible flue pipe, and I was looking at it, showing my guy who worked for me about it and telling him I really didn't like it very much, and so I kind of grabbed it and moved it around a little bit, and I noticed the whole damn flue pipe moved. So we looked up, and the flue pipe was broken off. It had been broken off at the ceiling, and who knows how long it had been broken off like that. It's old, and I don't know how long that thing had been broken. It's probably been broken forever. I hate that little flexible stuff, man. I guess it's code compliant, but I won't use it.
We have guys, not too many guys buy it, but there are some guys that do buy it.
It's expensive too, right, Ralph?
I don't know. I know guys buy it, but I've never rang it up. So
I want to ask you guys a question. The tool pros.
Goat head.
Okay. This is something I want y'all's opinion on because you guys are the tool pros. Now we have the iManifold and we have the new Philpiece probes. Brent, I know you know a ton about both of those. In a year's time, do you think the Philpiece probes are going to oust the iManifold? Now imagine that they start working with Measure Quick, and if they don't, does that make a difference too?
If Philpiece works with Measure Quick, yes. It will definitely give the iManifold a dang good run for their money. Without Measure Quick, the Philpiece app is nowhere near as powerful as the iManifold app is. The iManifold app, it has been crisp, clean, and 100% accurate. So the Philpiece does offer a good app, but the app itself is not where it needs to be. It's not on the iManifold level. If they went to the Measure Quick, it would be. And another thing also is that nobody else except iManifold offers repeatability. Now, Bluetooth 5.0 is coming out, and I do believe Bluetooth 5.0 will offer some kind of repeatability or something like that. Now, I may be wrong on that, but that's my understanding, and it's a lot longer range. If somehow Philpiece can incorporate the Bluetooth 5.0 with what they have now and make it repeatable, then there will be no question whatsoever that Philpiece will be the top dog. That's my take on it. But let me say something. We're not the Tool Pros. Our podcast is called the Tool Pros because we bring on the pros like you guys, Ralph and Zack, to tell us what's up.
Did you just call us tool pros?
exactly.
Because everybody out here is a tool pro, man. Everybody has their niche. So we bring on different pros and different things. And so we reach out to everybody because nobody knows it all. So we get all kind of different tool pros on here.
Now, let me ask you a question about the Philpiece probes. Are they going to start offering airflow?
Right now they have the psychrometric probes, what they call them, and they do return air, dry bulb, wet bulb, supply air, dry bulb, and wet bulb. When I've talked to Craig about somehow importing airflow in that, whether they take it from the psychrometric probes or you have to use a different meter, I don't know, but they definitely know they need to incorporate that, and I think it's something that's coming in the future.
It's definitely in the works.
Until they do that, until they offer airflow, it's not going to be able to ever touch the iManifold.
That's why Measure Quick could take that data that's coming from the supply and the return just out of those psychrometric probes and turn that into an airflow measurement. That's why integration with Measure Quick would make it so much more powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Now, speaking of Measure Quick, did you guys see the post that Jim put up today as far as having everything tested in the lab?
I saw that. He said he was very nervous about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't picture Jim being nervous about anything.
Oh, he is. He just got a really good way of not showing it. But believe it or not, Jim's just a guy, just like me, you, Zach, Billy.
Well, not like me or you, Ralph. We're just weirdos.
Oh, yeah.
He's a guy who knows a hell of a whole lot about this HVAC stuff. For you guys who don't know, that's Jim Bergman. He's created MeasureQuick. It's an HVAC related app. He did do the whole manifold deal. He's not associated with them anymore. And he also owns Redfish Meters. He's on the list to come on the podcast. I haven't reached out to him, but I'm sure he would if I invited him. But I want him to come on here and bring some big news when he comes. So I'm hoping like maybe when Redfish brings a new product out or something, he'll come on here and talk to us about it, like a new meter or something like that. That's what I'm holding out for.
Yeah, I'm holding out for that new clamp meter.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what's exciting.
That is exciting. When's that coming?
Soon, because it is on the website.
What? Is it really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hold on, dude. Wait,
It
You
is.
just made me happy. Hold on. I got to Google that.
Hey, Ralph, we're going to make the longest Tool Pros podcast ever.
I know. They're going to have a part 2 and a 3.
I feel bad. I feel like we should have talked about regular tools more.
But we're talking to 2 HVAC guys, so
Guys, we want to come back and do this again. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm having a lot of fun.
What we could do is one night just do a live stream.
Absolutely.
That's a good idea, too. We'll do that. Hey, wait a second.
The live streams do pretty well.
Yeah, we should do a live stream. We could bring these 2 jokers on our podcast simultaneously, too.
Let's do it. I'm excited for it, man. Maybe I need to bring some notes or something, but I was like, you know what?
I never have no stinking notes, man.
These 2 guys are like talking to old friends. I'm like, man, I don't need to talk to these guys. I don't need notes to talk to these guys.
It was a tool that introduced me and Brent.
It was the iManifold. It was that brought me and Ralph to be friends.
That stupid tool.
Facetious, of course.
Yeah.
I wanted to thank everybody who's listened to the end. Hopefully your ears aren't bleeding. Hopefully you've made it this far. Thank you guys so very much. We from the Tool Pros appreciate all your support and all your feedback. Look us up on iTunes or Stitcher, Podcast Addict. We may be on Spotify soon, or any of our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, any of that good stuff. Leave us a review. Tell us how you like it. Tell us how you don't like us. Tell us what we can do better. Give us all that good stuff. Then also, go check out my buddies Ralph and Zach with the HVAC Shop Talk podcast. These guys are great. They talk all kind of stuff HVAC. If it's HVAC related, they're on it. They're the first ones to talk about it. It's the best HVAC podcast out there. And I want to thank them so much for coming on here. Thank you guys so much.
yes, thank you.
Hey, we appreciate it.
This was a lot of fun, guys.
We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thank you for listening to the Tool Pros Podcast. The best way to listen to this podcast is by using your smartphone or other web-connected device, and subscribing using the podcast app on Apple devices or the Stitcher app, or Google Store for Android devices. You can find all of the shows on the Blue Collar Roots Network by going to bluecollarroots.com. From all of us at Blue Collar Roots, thank you for listening.